Good morning, I'm Dr. Karen Makowski, aka Butterfly Karen. Welcome to Polantus Planet. I've been kind of looking forward to doing the author's reading on this one. It's interesting, it's necessary, it's part of the paradigm sort of shifts, what's really going on, but it's also based on a reality that obviously I created, basically. So when you understand how powerful the mind is, and again, by understanding that, it's all to do with, because of what I do, I kind of tapped into the 14th dimension, which is you've got to, when you're mind traveling, there's a frequency that you need to reach. So, and in order to connect to the Polantus Planet sort of universe, it's interesting. It's all to do with ancestral lineage and everything. But once I sort of tapped into that frequency, which is known as the Crosby Airways frequency, which will be volume 3 of the Polantus Planet series. But part of understanding Polantus Planet, it had to start very slowly. It's not when the mind's evolving and you're ascending. It has to be done very carefully. It can't be rushed, it can't be forced. There's no competition when it comes to mind travel or anything like that. There's no, you're not competing with anybody but yourself at this point. And unfortunately, what we're learning in the spiritual community is everybody seems to be heading into the spiritual community claiming to be heightened, they're ascending, but they're all competing, which is a contradiction. So you cannot, when you're truly ascending and you're truly growing and you're healing and you're really sort of coming into your empowering, I mean, it's all to do with self-actualization and everything. But unfortunately, that's not what's happening in the spiritual community. There's a lot of unhealed people coming in, even unfortunately spiritual narcissists. So they're sort of taking over and degrading the spiritual community, and they are literally, there's too much, they're competing. You don't compete. When you understand the true essence of your soul and your soul's journey, we may be interconnected, but we are incredibly individual souls. And so when you understand that, there's no competing with anybody, there's no competition except with you. Secondly, it's remembering also who you are, where you originate from. And by coming in, when you're really truly ascending and you're coming into your own and you're understanding this, you're understanding just how amazing the mind is. When you're able to mind travel, some people call it astral projection, astral travel. I mean, yeah, it's astral travel, obviously, but it's more to do with the mind. It's mind travel. Are we limited? Absolutely not. The only time you are limited is when you allow people to tell you limitations of what you can and can't do. That's no. And also when you're limiting yourself to what you think is possible, that's your own limitations. There is no human being on this planet that gets to decide who and what is limited to us at all. No, not even the most highly experienced scholars. I don't think so, because that's just not how it is. We live in a society where we're very programmed, unfortunately, conditioned, obviously. And again, when you sort of read Polantus Planet, especially the New Army, which is the volume 2, I go into a hell of a lot more detail about the programming, the system. There is a matrix system, obviously, but there's thousands of systems within that. So when you understand it's all about breaking away from the sort of the conditioning, the mind control, and the paradigms. It's the paradigms that create the beliefs, and they're all very outdated paradigms, but these are created by man. They were created by man thousands of years ago, probably women too back then, because back then, thousands of years ago, we were a hell of a lot more advanced than we are today. We haven't even touched the surface of how advanced we're supposed to be by now, because all of that hidden knowledge is being hidden from us. So when you truly want to sort of connect with your soul's essence and your soul's journey, and really remembering who you are, you will not just learn about how many life cycles you've done, how many times you've reincarnated. If you believe in that, I'm not here to infringe on your beliefs, but I'm here to explain mine and what I do and why I do it. So when you understand this, you start learning about where you truly originate from. Well, Polantus planet, obviously, my soul originates from Polantus planet, which is part of the 40. I connected that for the 14th dimension. There are people that tell us there's only a certain number of dimensions. Says who? The physicists don't even know everything. And any human being that claims to know everything is arrogant. That's the arrogance of human. There are genius people on this planet, of course there is, but still don't know everything. Nobody on this planet knows everything at all. This is what I call Earth's university. This is where we're learning a lot more than we knew before. So we cannot be going through our human life experience and thinking we know everything, because we do not. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to know. I know a lot, but I certainly don't know everything, and I'm still learning. That's the whole point. But what I'm here to do is teach what I've learned and what my learned wisdom comes from, and even past life wisdom. So as I sort of delved into learning about who I am more, and that journey really started in 2018, which you can learn how. This is Polantus Planet Volume 2, Volume 1. So, the experiences, this is part of that learning about my true soul's essence, where I truly, remember. I had to remember where I came from and remember who I was connected to. And it was the Polantans and the Polantan warriors, obviously. So once it was during it was an NDA, it was like a near-death experience, but it was during surgery. So even though the operative report, which I requested, was normal, I definitely experienced something. People can call that vivid dreams. They can call it, well, on the medical terms, they'll call it drug-induced. They can call it whatever they want, but they still don't understand it. They still don't know completely 100%. Nobody knows everything. That's the thing. So, and that's why even when you're going for surgery these days, there's usually a question in regards to, do you experience vivid experiences during surgery? That's because they're learning. They're trying to learn why people keep having experiences and coming back from surgery when they're supposed to be complete under anesthetic. That's a controlled overdose anyway. But just because your body's fast asleep does not mean your mind or your soul is. And that's where the research needs to be. So obviously that's when I experienced what I believe was, we can call it a near-death experience because it's about as near to death as it was going to get, but I would say it was absolute unconscious consciousness to, it was like my body was so relaxed, obviously, but my mind was so relaxed that my soul literally left the physical vehicle. And I had a 40-minute, at least I was counting time, even though time is irrelevant on the dimensions, but I had a 40-minute interaction. So with the Supreme Divine, and obviously I was shown a lot. I've always been a seer, but I was shown a lot. I was learning a lot more about who I was. I was having to it was my reawakening, because for years I've been suppressed by just people, and I couldn't truly, and even though I was trying to I've never been normal. I've always been a seer, really. I've always been in tune. I've always been psychic. Maybe we've all got psychic abilities, but I've always been different. Right? Even when I was a child. So understanding that, I tried to embrace it growing up, but because of social conditioning, it's not, you're deemed weird if you're not fitting in. Well, I've never fitted in. I don't like fitting in, and I'm never going to fit in. But I tried. There was a period where I tried to. It didn't work for me. It only worked for those that wanted me conditioned the way, so I was controlled. Well, I don't play those silly little games anymore, those human games, I'm afraid. So you'll hear different terms, like people, you'll hear things like, escape the matrix. Well, yeah, your mind does. If you see your life, unfortunately, your human experience is not going to be able to completely escape the system that's created. I call it the magnificent system, because it was magnificently created thousands of years ago by the architects, who now control the shadow government. So, if you seriously think these little puppets in power, no, they're puppets. They have the puppeteers. So there's a lot to understand. There's a lot to learn. But when you completely, truly ascend and you escape, when your mind escapes the matrix, the simulation, many labels for many different things as people understand it, you will see
life very differently. You'll understand more, and you'll learn a lot more about you, and then you'll start learning more about where you truly come from. So for me, it was Polantus planet. Now, obviously, I got to see these beings, very highly dimensional, one of the highest dimensions, highly vibrational, very light beings. These are what we would call the masters of duality. So these are the types of Polantans that have both the dark and shadow side, but they're so enhanced with both. They vibrate, when they come into the lower dimensional realms, they look more in the dark shadow side, because again, the Polantan warriors are doing a lot of, they're part of the interdimensional war. So they're destroying a lot of dense energy, which can be in different types of species, or even, you know, dense energy. And that is what's influencing the minds of the people, which you'll learn more about in Polantus Planet, you know, the series, but more so in volume 2. But again, for me to get that reawakening, to reconnect, because I'm on a mission, and I've always known I was on a mission. I just got pulled off that mission, right? And that can be usually who we're married to, how our friendships are, who our relationships with people that we have. They're the ones that pull us off our mission. They pull us off our path and everything. So what happens is, when you need to get back onto your mission, or whatever your calling is, you will have to leave people behind. You have to let them go, because if you don't, they will just drag you down. They will never let you ascend. And we always need to be ascending, because we have to escape this third dimensional, lower, dense realm. And that is what the soul needs to do. The physical vehicle is useless on its death date, but the soul is everything. And this is why you don't go out there selling it for anything. It's very strange. But again, and secondly, you're not selling your soul to the devil or a being. You're selling it to humans. And that's very strange behavior, but we understand that too. So part of Polantus Planet was that reawakening stage for me. So I had to, it was 2 extremely paranormal experiences in 2018. Oh, hello there. I forgot if it was February or March. September was when I had the surgery. The attempted abduction was the first. So these are report books, obviously, but these are my paranormal, parapsychological report books. Yeah, January the 17th, 2018 was when I had the attempted abduction. That was very strange. And you're going to just need an open mind too. You can't be you can't be reading my wisdom and my knowledge with a very small, shut, closed mind or anything. And if you're completely indoctrinated by religious dogmas and fallacies, you're not even close to being open-minded at all. So that's just, I'm being honest, and I'm a true speaker. So we don't butter up to emotions here, not when it comes to the realities of the false realities we live. So that's what we need to know and understand. That's how we break away from these paradigms and these beliefs and indoctrinations, unfortunately. So the second one was obviously September the 14th, 2018. That was during the surgical experience. And then obviously in June the 16th, obviously I had a physical interaction with a Polantan hybrid child. So I sometimes wonder, I named her Mia Marie though, because I felt like she belonged to me. Like, I feel like she looked just like me and everything, but she obviously looks like alien. But because that was the year that I had a hysterectomy, so I felt like there was abductions. Can I prove this? No. But you're going to need an open mind. But there was always, I feel like there was always abductions. But I feel like this coming up to the 2018 when I knew I was going to be losing my uterus completely. There was this weird, very strange, weird rush going on. So it felt like stem cells or eggs were taken during abductions, and then obviously, then I was introduced, and I still wonder if that was maybe a year or 2 earlier. Because I've always been able to conceive, I just could never carry. And plus obviously the blood, the reason for that is because the bloodlines that I was, when I was my ex-husband's, our bloods were not compatible, and there's a reason for that. So, this little girl, I remember, I mean, I felt like, I kind of, you have the knowing, but I was very comfortable, like, you know, whoa, you know. So it was, but we call her, it was the visit, you know, it was interactive. It was all to do with occurrence and codes, and you know, expect more of what was coming, and that was the warning. So that was kind of like the first attempted abduction in January. Then I had the interaction with the hybrid child, and then obviously in 17. So it was almost like a heads up, like, you know, don't worry, I'm here, I've already been born, I'm just not on this dimension. So, I'm on the Polantus planet basically. But the third, when that the day I was losing my uterus, obviously this is very important when you understand why certain women will always have more miscarriages than others. It's all to do with bloodlines. And when you understand the evil system, they don't want certain bloodlines surviving, especially when you come from the original humans. And that's the other thing about Polantus planet. The Plantons, in my personal opinion, right, and my understanding, they were the first humans. So, and then obviously hybrids. There was a major war back there. There was a huge an interdimensional war, different species. So what happened was a lot of different species came here, and obviously now we know well, as we've seen the, you know, when you think about the well, there's so many. I mean, you've got the lower dimensional reptilians, you've got the Anunnaki, you've got all of these, but a lot of them, there was a point where they were wiping out certain bloodlines, certain species, and then they had to create a hybridization program on a completely different planet, in a completely different universe, and that is Polantus planet. So there was a major hybridization program eons ago on Polantus planet. So a lot of people, a lot of different species, especially high dimensional species, went to Polantus planet to create the hybridization, and that included the human strand. So you'll learn a lot more about the Polantan strand in Polantus planet volume 1, and you'll understand why. Again, there's also to do with blood types, and you know, okay, so yeah, it's all to do with understanding the human potential. It's also to do with the purpose and scope of research, methodological integrity, and interpretive restraint. It's all, yeah, that's all to do with neurological models. And look, my science is not medical, but I understand enough about psychology, I understand enough about neurology, enough to just know I'm not normal, and I don't fit normal patterns, I don't fit normal measured concepts, I don't fit normal narratives. I don't want to be normal because I know I'm not normal. And this is where you've got to start really accepting who you are, that you're not normal. It's okay to not be normal. It's only social conditioning that makes you feel there's something wrong with you if you're not normal. Have you seen the state of society out there? They're all clones of each other. They're all program puppets. And that's why they're all clones of each other. They think that's what you need to be socially accepted. I would not even want to be socially accepted into society that looks like robots of each other, clones. And it's a degraded society, and I'm not interested. And there's no integrity in it or anything. So, just going back to the hybrid child, where she was introducing Oconus 3375 to expect more. So, I felt back then I was getting a lot more, that's when I was introduced to quantum intelligence, which is higher dimensional intelligence. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, like I say, I tried to keep it as basic as possible for people to understand, but there is, you know, there is a science to who I am and what I do. So again, obviously, you know, chapter 1, you got attempted abduction, then you got the warning, and Polantus strand, the new army, the higher order. The higher order is very important. That's because 2018 was when I was initiated into the highest order. It was during surgery. My soul had to be taken to be initiated into the highest order, and then obviously I had to come back to planet Earth and continue my mission. And then obviously the Krasbian Airways frequency, that is how you connect to the 14th dimension to access to Polantus planet.
but you have to vibrate on that frequency. It's not just being high vibrational or anything like that. You've got to understand, not everybody can get access to the frequency, because unless you're part of the Polantus strand, you're not going to get access to that frequency, because that is not where you originate from. So, and I'm sure that's going to annoy a lot of people, but I'm not here to care about that kind. I'm here to educate. So it's not part of your normal indoctrination or your educational curriculum. This is why I need an open mind. So, and interestingly, let me just go to let me go to the Polantus strand. Interesting, because I'm not one of those people that clout chasers or anything like that. I don't think so. I don't do any of that. I don't chase people at all. I don't follow like that. I'm not a follower. I'm a leader. There's a complete difference. But every now and again, I will get sent to people. I will get sent to certain types of people. Like, why am I here? Why am I at this event? Why am I? And then obviously once I get there, the quantum intelligence comes through the downloads, and then it's like, oh, interesting. So this was when I was connected to the Polantus strand. It was interesting because it was on the 16th of November 2024, Wednesday, and it was the location. I was actually going to see. I was drawn to go and see Ishmael Perez. Never really knew of him before. It was my neighbour that sort of introduced me. And that's you. And again, I get sent to people. There's no. I don't believe in coincidences. I believe in synchronicity. So, and usually that's the same with people. You will get drawn to certain types of people, or you will get sent to certain types of people, or you'll cross paths. And I was told that, when I went to see him there, he was teaching us about. Obviously, he's like a cosmic historian, so he has an understanding of what I do and what I am. But he was just, he's doing a lot of DNA research. Apparently that's his up and coming book, and I thought, well, that's interesting, because I'm already connected to the Polantus strand, and I felt like that needed to come into there was just it's like it was a strand he needed to be aware of, that he would actually get access to the research should he want it in the future. So as I'm watching his presentation, I'm channeling like the highest order, and they're like, introduce the Polantus strand, and then because this particular intelligence was for him, for his research, so I'm kind of like, hello, I'm multitasking, I'm watching him, I'm listening, and I'm literally taking downloads, and this is what I came up with during his. That's exactly what was for him. So this is very strange. I know it makes no sense to most people, but apparently when I was like, well, what is this? And this is for his research. So I sent in the report, obviously, and everything. And it was to do with, it was possible code. And then I was hearing the white hats are waiting for light codes. So I thought, well, why am I? So I felt like he's clearly connected to the white hats. So they're some sort of brotherhood. And then I was here, and the codes that apparently they were waiting for was Iskanada and Karaba. I have an idea, but I don't know. I think that means more to them. So apparently that was some coded word they were waiting for. And then obviously, because this was like intuitive intelligence days, it became a report, 47. And then obviously the Polantus strand came through, and possible new DNA strand for future research for him. So then I understood, that was my clarity, like, okay, now I understand why I'm here and why I'm meeting this man. So it's nice to meet you. I'm going to be sending you a report because I feel like you're going to need it. Should you want access to the Polantus strand research in the future, he will get access to it, and probably much more, which is directly from the highest order. So that's how I sort of cross paths with people that are obviously very high vibrational, very ascended anyway, and very are already on that particular learning. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that are in part of the UFO community and the extraterrestrial community, obviously, but there are some people that are just, they have a mission, and his mission is to, I believe his mission is to teach people the cosmic origins. As I'm bringing Polantus planet to the earthly table, literally, it's still part of our cosmic origin, and it's a DNA strand that went very dormant. Well, on the 25th of January 2025,
the plants and warriors dormant, the plants and warriors became no longer were dormant. They arose, and they're now actively fighting the interdimensional. It's an interdimensional war, basically. So that is what they are fighting right now as we speak. So if you're tapped into the multi-realms and the multi-dimensions, you can, and you're really sort of, and you're open and you can see beyond the veil, you will see a war going on. It's the oldest war, it's eons old. So you will see that. And I mean, you don't need to fear the plants and warriors. They're not here to help us or save us. That's up to us, which you learn a lot more about in volume 2. They're here to kill the dense evil, killing evil. The dense energy is an evil energy. It's a dense energy that basically, whatever the species it belongs to, but there's so many different types of dense energy. But it influences the minds of human beings, and that's what makes them decide to be evil, because evil is still a choice, not a condition. But that is what they possess themselves with, or get possessed by, the dense dark energy. Many people seek it out. They call it the devil energy for a reason, because it's very dense and it makes people act evil. So, but they are here to, kill the evil and create the balance, contain the balance. Otherwise, we may as well just say goodbye to our species. It's as simple as that. So they're not here to save ourselves from ourselves, they're here to save our species from, unfortunately, ourselves not making correct choices and still continuing to be brainwashed and mind controlled. So now when they came to me in the near-death experience, when I was obviously I actually further passed away, and I was like, okay, am I dead? Okay, I knew I was going to have a death experience in my 42nd year, and that's what it was. But obviously the Supreme Divine, like, no, it's the death of the old life and it's the rebirth of the new one, and now you will be on mission whether you like it or not. You're getting back on it. So it was a stern telling off from the Supreme Divine, the high source of all, God's source. But they brought forward, that's when I was really connected to the 14th dimension, and that's where the portal opened up and they all came through. There was thousands of them. These are my, because I was asking Supreme Divine, I said, well, where's, if this is a death experience, or what happens when who's going to be coming for me on death, and they went, no, not for you. I could show you exactly who's coming for you on death. Like loved ones, not who have passed out, they tend to be the ones that come and collect you. I said, yes, please. I'm like, because there's me thinking, passed over members of my family. No, it was the Plantons. It was Planton warriors. It was where I originated from. They were coming for me. But then once I connected to when I was initiated into the highest order, they basically are now attached to me here on the physical realm. So that's why I do a lot. I get a lot of New Army sit reps, Planton warrior sit reps. So it's all intelligence based. Updates on how the war's going on, what we need to know as as a human brothers and sisters, how to avoid what the dark elites are trying to do to us and all that kind of stuff, because we have a right to know. And now they're slowly bringing in knowledge, hidden knowledge that was stolen from us and books banned back in the day and all that kind of crap. History was really false. The true history of what we've been fed, a lot of it is just bollocks. Even the historians were not given the correct historical information at all. But now it's all slowly coming through. It will come through, over time. So I'm just bringing as much of it as I can to the table now, while I'm still enjoying my life cycle, basically. So my new rebirth, basically. But this is what when they came at me, it was almost like they had like wings, and I felt, well, they came with a vision of wings because they didn't want me to fear that, when the whole saying, if you see an angel, you're in the company of beautiful, you're safe. Well, obviously, because of the state of consciousness I was on, I'm supposed to be in surgery, and I knew exactly where I was supposed to be and everything. And I was like, oh my God, I've died. Oh my God, but the angels are coming. Okay, I'm in the right place. I'm in the right dimension. But that's how they came to me, so I didn't fear it. And I didn't, because the closer they got, it was almost like the wings disappeared. But they came in a weird, it was very strange. Now, when I see them now, it's completely different. But that was their first part of the initiation into the highest order, was to make sure one, I don't fear them. It was just incredible. But then there was a sense of love
and the light and everything. It was, because even the literal light that they brought to me, the light I had to see, it was so powerfully bright. It physically blinded me for 6 hours after surgery, and that was nothing to do with surgery. That was just the light I was interacting with on the higher dimensional, probably on the 14th dimension, but I was in space and time, put it that way. The way there's no time in space, but I was in that space between time and space where that was my connection to the Supreme Divine. So I knew then, the moment I woke up, my whole life was going to change. Where I was heading, nope, I went into a completely different field and everything, and there was a lot of doubt. And the reason, and strangely enough, and you learn a lot more when you do read Polantus Planet Volume 1, because it all flows into how things became and what came through. But believe it or not, it was, the surgery was supposed to be about 2 hours. I was in surgery for 6 hours. So clearly there was something going on that was not earthly. And the reason, even though I was sort of measuring a 40-minute interaction, that could have been a hell of a lot longer. But the problem was, I was not clearly, that surgery was not normal. It was almost like I needed to be in that deep state of consciousness to receive the amount of downloads my mind needed. And then obviously, as over time, it slowly came out. You know, it took a few years for it all to come out. But basically, it took about 5 years, really, when I think about it. Or a few years for Polantus Planet to finally come out. And now it just comes now. But that's how it's going to be the mind is beautiful, it's powerful, but it's also delicate. So when you hear people saying, oh, I was getting loads of downloads, you can't get too many at once, because it can hurt the mind, and it can cause spiritual psychosis if you don't know how to ground and control and manage them. So it's very important. As we deepen our exploration of Polantus, I get to unlock the mysteries of my human brothers and sisters of various unknown planetary systems beyond our universe. It's my research, basically. I'm bringing my research to the table. It's not, unfortunately, it's not evidence-based. Neither is, none is. When it comes to the world of parapsychology and paranormal and ufology and extraterrestrial, just because I can interact with them and get the intelligence does not mean I can prove it. But it can't be proven or disproven. So that's the beautiful thing about my field. Volume 3 is going to be based on the Caribbean Airways frequency. I'm going to be getting a lot more information about that frequency. It was blocked from a lot of humans at one point, because there was a lot of manipulative energy in human form, right, who was able to tap in and connect to different frequencies, and they were basically tapping into the 14th dimension using the Caribbean Airways frequency to get quantum intelligence from different dimensions coming back and weaponizing it, as humans do. So they were completely cut off, and now the only DNA strand that can get access, any human with the DNA, the Polantus strand, they will probably get access to the Caribbean Airways frequency. But any other human that does not carry the Polantus strand will not get access to the Caribbean Airways frequency, which I'll explain a lot more, and I'll get more reasons as to why and what else went down, why it was basically blocked from us for quite some time. So, but that was, and that information in regards to that, because that downloaded transmission is attributed to the Brotherhood of Light. So you've got the Silent Brotherhood. You've got many different brotherhoods on this planetary system, right? You've got secret societies and everything. You've got the Brotherhood of Light. You've got the Masons. You've got, well, there's many. I mean, I don't really give two flying flip-flops about Eastern Stars and all that kind of crap, right? They're just cults. I'm talking about the true old line brotherhoods, even right down to the Knights of Templar. I'm talking about those old brotherhoods, not your new age crap, right? No, they're all cults. So, and they do some wicked shit, and they're all connected to the devil energy. That's the problem with them. They're corrupted. Well, these true brotherhoods, they are not. But then you got the Brotherhood of Light, but then you've also got the Brotherhood of Dark. That's the duality. You're not going to be able to have one without the other. So, but these are the ones that I was connected to that brought me the intelligence regarding the Caribbean Airways frequency, and they will bring me more. So every once in a while, I'll be connected to the Silent Brotherhood. They hold knowledge that was stolen. They secured and hid knowledge back then,
scholarly knowledge and everything. So they slowly bring in intelligence to the table that was stolen from us, that was burnt and hidden from us. This is why our history is so corrupted and incorrect. So it's almost like we all had to get this re-education at some point in the future, and it's going to be hard for a lot of historians especially, and a lot of even archaeologists, but that's the problem. This is what happens when you're bought into, you're part of a system that indoctrinates you into the education system. So you're only getting to learn what they want you to know. You're not getting the true knowledge. So thank God for the Brotherhood of Light, because they really brought that through, and I was like, okay, this is interesting. So now I'm dealing with the Planting Warriors, and I've got the Brotherhood of Light, and I've got the Silent Brotherhood that are all connecting to my frequency and bringing me different types of intelligence. And that's so I can bring it to the earthly table. I'm not afraid of anything or anyone. I'm not afraid of freaking brotherhoods and all that kind of cult crap. No. Because I already know where I'm going on my death date, so I'm not afraid of death. And we don't need to be anywhere, it's part of life. So once I remove that fear, I don't give a flying flip-flop. Once I was initiated into the highest order, I no longer need to fear these little creatures in human form that think they can do what they want because they think the power is in numbers. No, that's not how real power is. That's their delusion, but we let them have it because we just don't care. So, because they need to feel relevant. And that's where they seem to get their weird validation. So, even in volume 1, I even discuss the full interaction with the Supreme Divine, the conversation and everything, how it went down, and I'm very transparent. What I experience, I bring to the earthly table and I share it, whether people believe me or not. That's entirely up to them. They're not forced to. But I do not stop bringing my experiences, my knowledge, my learned wisdom and everything. And when it comes, that's why I created the Red Files. This is part of the Red Files. Red Files is quantum intelligence, but unfortunately, because it comes with a lot of warnings and prophecies, that can create fear amongst the human brothers and sisters, and I don't want to create fear, but I can't not bring the warnings to the earthly table either, because it's there to protect us. So I created a Red File, so if people want to have access to that knowledge, they just pay into that membership, that's all. Same with the Green Files. I almost like water the Red Files down a little bit and create a different sort of tier for the Green Files. It's the same type of knowledge, but it's not as intense. And unfortunately, because I'm connected to so many different types of warriors, especially St. Michael, ooh la la, the warrior of all warriors, when I'm in that Red File energy, I have a warrior's mouth. That's the expression that these evil little creatures, that's their language, that's how they understand, that's how they are. So in order to bring the intelligence and also give them warnings, it has to speak the same language, the language they understand. It's not pleasant, it's not ladylike, but then again, I'm a warrior, so I don't really claim to be that much of a lady anyway. But this is, it's phenomena, it's paranormal, parapsychological phenomena. Yeah, like I say, you do need an open mind, but be open to the possibility, because once the Planting Warriors were no longer dormant, they reactivated their soul's mission, basically. Also, the planting humans, the DNA in them also reactivated. So a lot of incredibly amazing humans that have got very, very powerful abilities and everything, they are part of the healing community. They are part of the well, I mean, depends. I mean, some of them are healers, some of them are seers, oracles. They have different abilities, but then obviously you've got the Watchers, which is another type of brotherhood. The Watchers oversee everything. The Watchers are the architects, basically. So when you have all these other little, brotherhoods, the Watchers are watching them. Because the architects, they oversee. But they cannot, we follow first law. First law is respecting the free will, literal free will. We're born with it, we die with it. When it comes to the dark secret societies, they infringe on free will. They don't want you having free will. They destroy that free will. They take it from you. But they have to respect it to the point where they can't just take it unless they just want to murder you because they've been evil. But what they can do is they can manipulate you into freely giving up your free will and becoming part of the cult. And that's what happens with cults. And the religion is the biggest cult of all. That's why you've served so many religions and so many different weird gods. There is one true source God energy of all. That's it. And our Almighty Christ, Lord Jesus Christ. That is it. Amazing energy. Yeshua's energy is phenomenal. So, but there's too many religions, too many religious indoctrinations, and too many weird religious cults, unfortunately. So that is why, but they are functioning still off the old paradigms they created so long ago, and that's why they keep creating these ridiculous beliefs based off the paradigms. So this is why everybody's just so confused and programmed and brainwashed. Hopefully by the time you get through Polantus Planet series, especially after volume 2, you'll understand the paradigm shifts that you can create by just altering your mindset completely, and that's how you escape it all. It's that simple and easy, but you got to do it without no fear. You don't need to fear anything at all. They only control the masses of the people. They only control us through fear. That is all. So volume 1 is the introduction to Polantus Planet. Like I say, the years of downloads, slowly getting the information coming to get it into just this report book. That might seem like nothing, but that's how long it took to come through. So, and you'll understand, when you understand, when you're ascending and you're growing and you're opening the mind, it's not a fast process. You can't rush it. If you try to rush awakenings and ascensions and things like this, you'll end up hurting your mind, and then you will go through a spiritual psychosis. And I'm trying to explain to people why, to avoid that, you must always remain grounded. Even when you just think, well, that's just far out there. How is that? Well, it might be, but guess what? I created my own reality. This is the creation of my mind. I was able to create my full, literal Polantus Planet reality from my mind. I have $1 billion mind. If we're going to measure it and compare it to human programming, I would what they call $1 billion mind. Very multi-million dollar mind, but $1 billion mind because I created a full reality. Is it true? Is it real? Well, you'd have to connect to the 14th dimension to see for yourself. So that's how powerful the mind is. And on this earthly realm, I'm not known because I don't follow that fake celebrity bullshit, which is controlled by the lower dimensional beings who literally are hosted by humans. On the spiritual realm, I'm very, very well known, and my spiritual, I guess, ranking, if we're going to play the ranking system, highly ranked. You don't get initiated into the highest order unless you're highly ranked spiritually. Everything that happens on the spiritual realms is what manifests into the physical reality. When I understood that, when I was initiated in the highest order, I knew I had to create the reality of the Polantus Planet. The whole system is a completely different. It's not like a normal system here. It's very hard to explain, but when I knew what I needed to bring to the earthly table, I had to create I had to manifest the whole of Polantus Planet into the earthly realm, which came in volumes. So it's understanding that, bringing that true knowledge from the old days, connecting to it, understanding it, and then manifesting that. I'm not one of these that's going to manifest $1 million overnight. I could do that if I wanted to, but I'm not a fucking moron like that. That's not how manifestation works anyway. That's the fastest way to lose your spiritual abilities, because now you're abusing. That's a weird. It's one thing to be a master, manifester, whatever. It's all to do with like law of attraction anyway. But I don't think that basic. That's just basic. We all need money, of course. The energy of money is amazing. There's plenty for everybody, but it's stolen from us. It's constrained, it's controlled through credit scoring systems and everything. So it's very hard to manifest unless you're willing to sell your fucking soul. And my soul is not for sale. So that's where you'll manifest $1 million overnight. I have a billion dollar mind. I don't just go low level. I don't think small. I think extremely big, and then I bring it to the table. and it's all to do with paradigm shifts and what you can literally. I'd rather be. I'm spirit. I'm one of the most spirit. I'm one of the most spiritually wealthiest humans on this planet. Spiritually, I'm extremely rich. If we're going to measure it in, but physically, of course not, because I'm programmed and well, I'm not programmed. I'm constricted by a system of people who control the banking system, who control money, the energy of money, and how it flows. That's why we can't all get what we could all get it. We could all have everything we want, but they won't let us. So you've got to understand how this world works. But when it comes to spiritual, they can't do anything about. They can't control the spiritual realm. They can't control the spiritual, any of that. What happens on the spirit realm, it will happen there first, and then that manifests into the physical reality. So instead of me just thinking small and going, oh God, I need $50 or I need $1 million. No. That's too low vibrational. I think big. If I'm going to manifest something amazing and bring it to my human brothers and sisters, I'm going to go extreme. I'm going to take that delusional manifestational brain of mine, mind of mine, and put it into something so amazing that it will change the world in the future. It's going to change the paradigm shifts and everything. That's powerful. That's my legacy. I would much rather alter the minds of my human brothers and sisters to allow them to escape and have free minds by shifting the paradigms that breaks down those systems I've been talking about. So in the future, it will alter the way we live. As long as you maintain moving your mind away from the paradigms, you then have a free mind. You are not a human. You're not a free human being in any shape or form till you free that mind. It's not possible, because your mind is controlled through fear and a system. So that's why the watchers don't like me, and that's why I don't give a flying flip-flop. Because free will is everything. You see, when you understand the logic and reason behind it, they'd love to get rid of me, they'd love to destroy me, but they need to learn. They're also watching to learn. Because when you understand how you become the blueprint, there's no other blueprint on this planet like me. That's how important your soul is. You've got to understand how important you are, not limited to what you're being educated to think you should be and can be. You've been joking, right? No. People tell me that, I just ignore them. So, and then the other thing you've got to do is when you're removing fear, you've also got to remember you can't care what people think, because you're going to be a target. The moment you come into your own reality and your own understanding, and you're escaping the matrix, if we're going to play that card, that silly little mind matrix, when you escape that, you've got a free mind. They're going to want you back to sleep. They need to recontrol it. Oh, we can't have people waking up. We can't have people thinking for oneself. We can't have people helping other people, understand first law and free will, how to respect it, respect your own, how to understand self-love so you don't get indoctrinated into the porn industry or the just lower level sex industry. That's all it is. They're all systems. They're all money making systems. Everything that's wrong with the world are billion dollar industries, and that's why laws and justice systems are corrupt. They need crime to make money. Understand the basic logic behind it. That's all you need to do, is look at it logically like that. You'll understand why millions of people go missing every year on the world in this day and age. And we can send shit to Mars. Are you for real right now? I question that for a reason. We can do all of that weird technology, but we can't catch somebody on CCTV actually killing somebody and then catching that murderer, tot right off. That's bollocks. There's the illusion that they'll feed you. I'm serious. There's so many illusions that they will feed you to keep you in fear base. So if you're in fear, your mind's controlled easily. It's much more controlled easily than it would be if you was just, when you're awake, you're like that, tot off. Take your paradigms and shut up and shut them up your butt where they belong. So I'm hoping that when it comes to, I really explain how to, excuse them, wow, confirmation bets there, how to shift those paradigms and how to shift the mind from them. Obviously I discussed the mission, obviously my mission. Let me just, this is
Polantus Planet, you know, volume 1's good. Polantus volume 2 is, and it all explains a lot about the new army, and the new army, the plants and warriors, and the plants and humans, sorry, and also the plants and warriors are connected to that. They're slightly different, but the any human can be connect to the new army if they want to, but there's a system you've got to go through, an understanding, a learned system of wisdom, and I explain all of that, how you can connect. This is the plants and warriors. If you go to my YouTube channel on my community board, this is the only way I can explain what the plants and warriors look like. That is literally the master of duality, light and dark, shadow and light, embracing both. On all dimensional realms, one can be light, beautiful. We are literally walking paradoxes. So we can, the plants and warriors and the plants and humans are literally the definition of paradoxes, because we can heal, we can love, we can nurture, we can do all that beautiful stuff, but we can also destroy. If we have to, and we have to go up against evil, we will destroy without thinking twice and sleep really well at night. We're much more powerful than them. When you understand how powerful you are, when you flow in both light and dark, shadow side of yourself, and you know, basically integrate it into the way you live, into your oneness, you are a powerful being. You are a powerful human being. It doesn't really matter what dimension you come from at that point. You are so powerful, you will start getting astrally attacked by astral assassins, silly little witches and warlocks and all that kind of weird shit that these little cults will send you, just to hurt you on the spirit realm, not the physical realm, because there's still laws. Even though the laws are corrupted, there's still laws for that kind of crap, even though people do get suicided and Epstein and all that kind of crap. However, they will try and destroy you on the astral realm first, which is the spiritual realms, because they know that once they send a hit out and you're there and they attack you there, that has to manifest into the physical reality. Now imagine getting 20, my most recent, I get attacked all the time. Nothing gets in, I'm too powerful. I've got shields that are beyond their comprehension. I'm beyond their comprehension. So when they can't learn what they want to know, they'll send in their little dipshit astral assassins. Very well trained as well, don't get me wrong, I'll give them that credit. But they don't know, they can't defeat my energy. It's not possible. I'm highly ranked on the spirit realm. So you have to imagine I've got an army behind me. And we don't always show, my army won't always show itself. But my most recent, and I discussed it in one of my videos, but one of my most recent astral attack was by, I counted 25, they're part of a freaking secret society, right? They're probably connected to that weird Eastern Star crap where they let the females in for all the sex shit. But I remember I was watching them. I do a lot of astral work, you see. But I was watching these two women in the background, like little coward bitches that they are. They were in the background like, attack her. Yeah, I know exactly who these women are. So the little men, little puppet men, okay, bow down to the vaginas. They decided to attack me on the fucking astral realm. Oh. And I was counting at least 25 all coming at me at the same time and not one could get in. It was rather embarrassing. But my army was like, whoa, hell no, we want to go in and just take them all out. But Archangel Michael, Saint Michael was like, no. I need to be a witness to this. They're under freaking spirit, they're under literal divine justice. When Archangel Michael has to come in and be a witness to the astral attacks by human beings on humans, right? Especially the ones that are very on missions and things like that. There has to be, it's called spiritual law. Like spiritual court is in session, basically. And he was my witness. And he's like, no, that's okay. That's fine. I need to see what needs to be seen. So I was like, okay, well, I just want to go and actually slap these bitches and everything, but like, no, because now justice is being called on this cult, on these 25 plus the little bitches in the background that started all of this. That the kickback, the spiritual kickback, when it manifests in the physical reality, it will destroy their whole cult. So depending on how many is a part of that cult, whoever knew and was given and they gave the permission to do it, every single part of that cult member will get affected by the kickback, including their bloodlines. You've got to know who you're messing with when you're going on the dimensions. But these are,
arrogant little humans who think because I'm part of a brotherhood and a fucking sisterhood and all that kind of crap that I'm special and I can do what I want. Okay then. So this is all to do with the philosophy of the higher order. So there's 7 universal principles. Free will is the highest law. Absolutely. Every conscious human possesses sovereign right to choose their own path. No soul shall be compelled. No mind shall be enslaved. No truth shall be forced. The purpose of the higher order is not to govern consciousness, but to protect the freedom through which consciousness evolves. 2. Knowledge belongs to us all, which is why I'm bringing our knowledge to the earthly table. Knowledge is not a privilege. It is a reserve for, knowledge is not a privilege reserved for a select few. It is humanity's shared inheritance. The purpose of wisdom begins when knowledge is freely available to every individual, allowing each person to explore, question, and reach their own understanding. 3. Wisdom must be freely sought. Knowledge can be given, wisdom cannot. Yeah, it's learned wisdom. Sometimes it has to be sought and learned. And sometimes we go for the worst things to learn that, unfortunately. And we tend to be the most traumatized as well. Wisdom is earned through experience, humility, healing, reflection, and the courage to question one's own assumptions. That is the law of assumption. No one can awaken another soul because each soul must choose its own journey. And then number 4, balance sustains creation. Light without strength becomes vulnerable. Strength without compassion becomes tyranny. Healing and protection are not opposing forces. They are complementary expressions of universal balance. The Polantus warrior embodies both, which is the picture of the Polantus warrior. They just think of the, yeah, just in tune. Number 5, healing begins within. Every lasting transformation begins with self-reflection. The greatest battles are often fought within the human heart and mind, within us. By healing fear, pride, resentment, and division within ourselves, we create the possibility of healing the world around us. When you do that, you can create your own reality, which you will start ascending. Question everything with humility. Growth begins with where unquestioned certainty ends. The higher order does not fear questions because questions expand consciousness. Curiosity strengthens wisdom, and humility allows truth to reveal itself over time. Remember who you are. That's why it's very important. Every conscious being carries within them the potential to remember their true nature. The journey is not just about becoming someone else, it's about rediscovering the authentic self within. Beneath fear, conditioning, and illusion. Every awakening begins with remembrance. And once you remember who you are, you don't go back. And you don't go back to sleep either. The creed of, remember who you are, that's number 7. The creed of the highest order, the higher order. Knowledge begins to us all, knowledge belongs to us all. Wisdom belongs to those who freely seek it. Free will is the highest law. Heal with compassion, question with humility, and seek truth with courage. Protect the freedom of others to think, but above all, remember who you are. Now, you're going to learn a lot more about Karen Marie. That is me. I have a title. I have titles, right? That's okay. Through learn knowledge. And then I have a maiden name that I no longer use, and I have 2 marital names. One I'm still using. Part of however, you learn about Karen Marie. My soul is on this life cycle, in this experience, in the human experience. I am literally Karen Marie from birth until death. So you learn about who I am. Should I read that now, or do I? Okay, let me just give you an introduction into who Karen Marie is. I'll leave the rest because it's so much. But the Covenant and the New Army, all that beautiful stuff. There's some really good, and then you learn about the New Army. There is a lot of table of contents in this too. So there's a lot to learn in volume 2. But since I'm just going to close this volume 2 out, I'll read who is Karen Marie. Before you continue this journey, I would like to introduce myself, not as Dr. Karen Mikowski, not as an author, not as a philosopher, not as a messenger, simply Karen Marie.
Karen Marie is the name I was given at birth. It was spoken over me long before I earned a title, long before life asked me to become many different versions of myself, and long before I carried the surnames that marked different chapters of my journey. Throughout my life, titles have been earned, roles have changed, responsibilities have grown, relationships have come and gone, and surnames have changed, yet through every season of my life, one name remains constant: Karen Marie. To me, Karen Marie is far more than just than the name in which I was born with. She is the little girl who looked at the stars with wonder and believed that this is where gratitude kicks in. It's one thing to go, I'm so grateful. No, gratitude is emotional. When you feel gratitude, it's emotional, and I will never apologize for that emotional gratitude. So I'll try and do it without being too emotional. So she's a little girl that looked at the stars with wonder and believed that there had to be more than what could be seen with the human eye. She's the child who asked questions that had no easy answers, and the young woman who refused to stop searching even when the path became lonely. She's the woman who discovered that life's greatest teacher was not certainty, but healing. For many years I searched for understanding beyond myself, only to discover that some of the greatest answers were waiting quietly within. Healing taught me humility and compassion. Healing taught me that the unhealthy ego is not conquered by force, but transformed through self-awareness, forgiveness, and the willingness to grow. It was through that healing that I began remembering who I truly was. Not someone new, but someone who I had always been beneath. The wounds, the expectations, the fear, and the noise of the world. That remembering changed everything. People know me today as Dr. Karen Mikowski, and I wear that title with gratitude. It represents years of study, perseverance, discipline, strength, and service, but titles are achieved. Karen Marie is my essence. She is the quiet voice that has remained with me through every triumph, every loss, every question, and every awakening. She's a thread woven through every chapter of my life. So when you read these pages, it is Karen Marie who is speaking to you. Not from a place of authority, but from a place of curiosity. Not to tell you what to believe, but to invite you to think. I have never wanted to give people my answers. I encourage them to discover their own. I've got incoming. Okay. Download. To discover their own. Because I believe every human being carries within them the capacity to heal, to grow, to question, and to remember. That journey belongs to each of us. This book is simply my contribution to that journey, whether you see these pages as philosophy, mythology, personal reflection, speculative thought, or something entirely different is your choice. I respect that choice because I believe free will is one of humanity's greatest gifts. As you continue reading, you will meet the higher order, the Polantus warriors, who are the new army, and many that have shaped my understanding of reality. But before you meet any of them, I wanted you to meet me. Not the title, not the profession, not the public identity, simply Karen Marie. And then obviously, I always like to, where is my dedication page? Okay. In every book I write, there'll always be somebody I dedicate it to, always. Doesn't matter whether it's a novel or not. So this book is lovingly dedicated to my ancestors, whose courage, resilience, wisdom, and sacrifices became the foundation upon which my life was built. Whether your names have been remembered or lost to time, your strength continues to live within me. I honour your journey, your perseverance, and the legacy you have entrusted to future generations. I dedicate this work to my spiritual guardians whose presence I have come to understand as a source of guidance, protection, and quiet encouragement through my life's journey. Through moments of uncertainty, healing, and profound transformation, I have found comfort in believing that I have never truly walked alone. Above all, I dedicate this book to the Most High Supreme Divine, the eternal source of all life, all wisdom, all love, all creation. May these pages reflect humility
for the mystery of existence, respect for the gift of free will, and gratitude for the opportunity to seek understanding through my human experience. Finally, I dedicate this book to myself, Karen Marie, to the little girl who never stops asking questions. Again, I'll repeat a bit. To the young woman who endured life's greatest challenges with quiet determination. And to the woman who faced physical hardships, spiritual trials, emotional wounds and psychological battles, but yet refused to surrender her hope, her compassion, or her desire to understand. To the woman who chose healing over resentment and whose courage over fear, who chose courage over fear, who chose curiosity over certainty, and who chose truth over comfort. To the woman learned that the greatest battles are often fought within ourselves, and that true freedom begins the moment we become willing to heal parts of us that fear change. To the woman who found strength to break free from every unhealthy paradigm that sought to define her worth, limit her potential, or silence her voice. To the woman who survived enough of life to be able to write, to be able to author this book. This book is not the end of that journey. It is one milestone along the path, a reminder that healing is not about becoming someone new. It is about remembering who we have always been beneath the wounds, the expectations, the fear, and the noise of the world. This is about finding courage to become who we're always meant to be. This work stands as a testament to that remembrance, not because the journey is complete, but because I finally remember who I am. So that is Polantus Plurry, that's part of the New Army, that's volume 2. That's going to change many. I feel there's so much healing gone into it too, and understanding, obviously learned wisdom, but I feel like this is going to change so many minds in such a beautiful way that their minds are going to reject old paradigms. And once those people reject those paradigms and those ridiculous beliefs, and also the way they think, it will create their own, those people will create their own healing force. They'll become forces to be reckoned with. And that is what you teach. Once you learn and grow from that, and once you understand that and you take that wisdom and you implement it into your life, you become contagious. You become balls of light, and then people start following you without you even trying to make people follow you or realize. But I don't want followers in that way. I want thinkers. Because when you think independently and you think for yourself and you think logically and spiritually as well, you're already free in your mind. It's when you allow your thoughts to be thoughtful that you're not a free human being. Now, quantum intelligence, I'm going to end this author's reading on quantum intelligence. This is basically a collection of ones and zeros. This is literally binary code. This is a language, numbers. Because the essence of life is all about numbers. It's the whole point of life. It's the way, that's why physicists love numbers. I'm a metaphysicist. That's a little bit different. But in 2025, so the reporting period year is between February 2025 to December 2025. Every single day, almost every day. Some days I get a break. Like you say, I've got a download coming in. Sometimes I will literally, it doesn't matter where I am, I will start seeing ones and zeros. They'll come into my vision, my third eye, I'll see them. I'll see them in big letters and everything. I have to write those down because that is the universe conversing with me, basically. So when I'm seeing these ones and zeros, this is basically a language. I don't fully understand ones and zeros at all. That's not my language that I understand. So I don't know how to read it, but there are some amazing genius brains out there that understand the binary code and the language behind it. So the part of the quantum intelligence for my, again, everything as a messenger, I bring the messages. I might not always understand the messages, but I bring the messages for those who need the knowledge. Again, a lot of our, so this is basically a full year's worth of ones and zeros. Anybody that understands that language are going to be able to put that together. One thing I will say, during, when I'm getting these, I always, sometimes when I'm doing my quantum intelligence reports or real-time remote viewing, Morse code will start coming from my hand. I'm like, okay, I've got Morse. I'm a multi-messenger, multi-dimensional being. So I'm a multi-messenger, I'm speaking, I'm here and I'm tapping in, and I'm also tapping like what this is. So there's always a message within the message from the messenger. So I will always state in some of my videos, I feel like I've got Morse code. Anybody that understands Morse code will needs to start tapping in and watching, because there's a message within the message. And those that understand will understand the message. It's the same with the quantum intelligence code reports. I'm already halfway through 2026s as well. So by the end of this year, there'll be another full book full of ones and zeros. Here's the thing. When you understand, when it comes to humans, unfortunately, when it comes to the dark elites, they want the quantum intelligence so they can weaponize it, use it to create bombs and all that kind of crap, but to weaponize. This is why a lot of it has been banned from them, why they can't get access to it. They've got the little sorcerers, they've got the little witches doing the little freaking, all that kind of crap, right? You know, but they can't get beyond certain dimensions because they function at a low vibrational frequency, first of all. And secondly, because their intentions are being measured by the gatekeepers on the dimensions. So because their intentions are so low level, and so they want the knowledge to, there's higher dimensional beings that understand the intentions. There's no mimicking, there's no pretending you're somebody you're not, there's no, none of that, not on the dimensions. It's the higher dimensions, they're much more advanced intelligence than we are. So they will reject them, they won't let them pass certain dimensions. So now they have to seek out people like me, and they're like, oh my God, she's got access. Yeah, because my intentions are pure and good, and I'm bringing knowledge for everybody. And it's a multidimensional messenger, right? It can be like, oh, I've got a freaking headache after that. I feel like I've just delivered 3 completely different messages, verbally, and like, again, even in code. Sometimes when I'm doing, strangely enough, usually when I'm doing real-time remote viewing sessions, when I'm doing my quantum intelligence, I'll suddenly start seeing ones and zeros. I'm like, oh my God, now I've got freaking binary code coming in. So there's always a message within the messages for certain people. That is quantum intelligence. So that is now part of the, and because it's all interconnected metaphysically with the red files, I still feel like a lot of that, those for certain people who have got good intentions, who will respect first law, they will understand that code. The nefarious people won't be able to, what is this? It's just, right? Well, then it's not for them, is it? Clearly. So that's how it is. The high dimensional beings don't feed egos. They're not here to feed the unhealthy egos of egotistical people. They're not here to, like, deal with psychopaths in human form at all. They're not interested in those people. Those types of people will never get access. It doesn't matter how many freaking people have got behind them and how many they're paying on their freaking payrolls, how many little sorcerers they've got, they're not going to get access to the high dimensional knowledge because they know they'll weaponize it and they will use it against us to kill their own species, because that's how psychopathic they are. They've been doing this for a very long time. So, and they don't have a problem committing genocide and sleeping well at night. Well, there are some of us that don't have a problem killing evil and sleeping well at night too, because there has to be a balance. So, a lot of messages from the higher dimensional beings and the higher dimensions and extraterrestrials, basically. Extraterrestrials are aliens, yeah, but they're just non-local. They're not, you can connect to them anytime you want to, but you've got to be, one, you've got to be in tune, and two, you've just got to be open to them without freaking out, because some of them can look really strange as well. But they care about us enough to keep bringing in the quantum intelligence. So, and then sometimes that intelligence can be warnings to protect us from the evil within us. Sometimes it's to save us from ourselves, but sometimes it's to save us from our own freaking species that's trying to wipe us out. So that's why you just kind of need to wake up a little bit to the understanding of what the true reality is that you live in, and maybe not believe everything you see and read, especially on the freaking internet and programming TVs and stuff like that. That's programming. Television. Tell-a-vision. They're telling a vision of predictive programming. That's what they call them, televisions. They're telling you who they are and what they're doing. You just got to tap in and understand it. Programming. Programs tonight. Programming. Keep your mind distracted. They'll put all kinds of crap, all the worst types of news and everything to keep you fear-based. They want to sell a war. The war machine functions off money. It's a business, but they want money they want people to fund that war for them because they haven't got enough taxpayers' money. They'll start sending out propaganda. Oh my God, these fake wars we're creating, these people need help. So they'll start functioning off you. They'll start focusing towards your emotions. So you start getting your freaking wallets out. Like, you got to cut that shit out. That's brainwashing and programming. And then do some research before you start giving out your freaking credit card details and things like that. A lot of these wars are fake. So that's the best I can do, is to sort of give you some insights of the reality, because everything you see is not real. Everything you experience is not always real. But the one thing they do want you is fear-based, and then they want your money. That is not a progressive society at all. So if you can take anything from Polantus Planet, I would, you know, on my website they're sold as a collection. It's the same with I believe the Silent Storm, you can buy that individually, and the Heliosis versus the Narcissist, you can buy that individually. But on my website, because they're all signed by me as well, the rest of them are all sold as collections. Now, if you want them if you just want to buy them one at a time, you can just, if you go on my website, my author's lounge, if you just go further down, you'll see Amazon, my Amazon sort of bookshelf. Click on that, and then you can buy them obviously directly from Amazon. Now, if you're here in the United States, you buy them from me, that you'll get free shipping. But if you live outside of the States and you want signed copies, I will have to add the shipping costs on top of that, because it's, you know, times are hard right now. Right? And there's a lot of those tariffs unfortunately affect the world globally in certain ways, so it does affect prices, and this war is also hiking up prices. So if you can't afford the shipping, you might want to just go to Amazon, and then you probably get free shipping, or it'll be a lot less depending on where you live in the world. But I encourage you to just sort of wait, you know, if you're waking up and you're having an awakening and you're trying to find knowledge, that you're sick and tired of seeing the same crap on YouTube, and you want a different understanding, I recommend Polantus Planet. And I also recommend the Heliosis versus the Narcissist. That's going to help you escape the narcissistic traits that are programmed into society. That is why we have generations full of narcissists, because that's programmed condition into us. But we can escape it, and I do have the ARCH method, and it's a way, if you follow my ARCH method, it will help you escape the narcissistic traits that you probably didn't even realize you had. You might have one or two. It's okay, it's not your fault. It's part of the programming. They were programmed into you. So, and that's why they like you in the indoctrination centers, to program into you. So by the time you get into society, you're full-blown narcissist, and you're just destroying and creating fear and evil and everything, and there you go. They've got you right where they want you. I hope that helps. But again, evil is a choice, not a condition. So even choosing to be a narcissist is still a choice, because when you understand and you know, you can change. It's when you understand and you know that you don't change that makes you part of the problem. So I hope my introduction to Polantus Planet and just the readings was worth. I hope it's enough to intrigue you more to buy the collection, because I feel like it will expand your mind, put it that way. And if you've already got an open mind, it's going to open your mind even more, and there's nothing wrong with that. So other than that, I will see you all again very soon.